All right, let's just jump right in. For what feels like forever, we've all been told to think mobile first, right? But something massive has been happening, kind of right under our noses, and honestly, that old playbook is officially broken. We are in a brand new era, and by 2026, it's going to require a completely different blueprint.
And just look at this. I mean, look how dramatic this shift really is. The main way people are watching long-form content isn't on their phones anymore. Nope, it's on the biggest screen in their house, the TV. This isn't just some little trend. This is a complete takeover.
You want a number? Here's a number. Over 40%. 40% of all long-form YouTube traffic now comes from connected TVs. Just let that sink in for a second. Almost half of your audience is leaning back on their couch, watching on a giant screen, and holding your content to a much, much higher standard.
And that brings us to this new idea we have to wrap our heads around, the living room economy. It's a whole new world where you're not just competing with other YouTubers. You're competing with Netflix, you're competing with HBO, you're competing with professionally produced TV shows. The demand isn't just for good info anymore. It's for cinematic quality and real, deep engagement.
So the big question is, how do you actually win in this new economy? Well, that's what we're going to do. We're going to break down this 2026 blueprint, look at the new reality, cover 3 critical rules you have to master, and then talk about what the real prize is at the end of all this. So here's the new reality, plain and simple. Viewer expectations have just skyrocketed. Everything that worked on a tiny 5-inch screen, the super quick cuts, the simple graphics, the jumpy energy, all of that can feel kind of cheap or even jarring on a 65-inch television. The old playbook just wasn't built for a lean-back cinematic experience.
And that leads us directly into our first rule. If you want to succeed in the living room, you absolutely have to master cinematic quality. It's not a nice-to-have anymore. It's the price of admission.
The big mental shift here is you have to start thinking like a TV producer. That means your content needs a visually compelling cinematic hook right from the jump. It means your sound, your lighting, your editing, it all has to be clean, professional. You have to remember, on TV, your video is sitting right there next to multi-million-dollar productions. You gotta step up.
But okay, here's the funny thing, the paradox. While you need to look more professional, you also need to be more human than ever before. And that brings us to rule number 2, which, might be the most important rule for 2026. Prove you're human.
Why is this so important right now? Because the internet is absolutely drowning in low-quality, AI-generated content. Faceless, soulless channels just pumping out what a lot of people are calling slop. It's content designed by machines, for algorithms, with zero human soul behind it.
And in a world that is just filled with AI, your biggest competitive advantage is proving you're real. Proof of human, that is becoming the single most valuable trust signal you can send to your audience. People are actively trying to filter out the noise, looking for genuine human connection and real expertise.
So how do you do that? You show your work. You pull back the curtain. Don't just show the perfect, polished final product. Show the raw data. Show the messy failures along the way, and then show the verified wins. That kind of transparency turns a viewer from just a passive observer into someone who's actively on the journey with you. You're not just telling them you're real, you're proving it.
Okay, so you've got cinematic quality, check. You're proving you're human, check. Now you need a system to actually attract and keep your audience. And that brings us to rule number 3. You've got to build a hybrid funnel.
The most successful creators in 2026 are going to be the ones who mastered this bridge between short-form and long-form content. It's really a 3-step process. First, you get discovered with short, punchy videos. Second, you build trust with your cinematic, deep-dive content. And third, you create unbreakable loyalty through real community engagement.
Now for that first part, the discovery phase, you can use a framework like the Sticky 5. It's a really simple structure for your shorts. A strong hook, show some progress, deliver a payoff, and end it quick. The goal here isn't to go viral. It's to solve one tiny problem for the viewer and earn their trust, hopefully enough to get them to click on your deeper, long-form stuff. And this whole system, this entire blueprint, it's all aiming for one thing in the end. And it's not subscribers, it's not views, it's not even money. The real prize is your community.
Because once you have that dedicated community, it solves the single biggest, most nagging question that haunts every single creator on the planet. Do you know what it is?
Yup. What should I make next? We all do it. We spend hours guessing, researching trends, trying to figure out what the algorithm wants. But there is a much, much better way.
Your Community tab is the most powerful tool you have. Seriously, it's like your own personal, intent-rich search engine. So stop guessing. Just ask them. Put up a poll. What is your single biggest challenge this week? You can turn your subscribers from just a passive number into your active content advisors. That way you're creating exactly what your most loyal fans actually need from you.
And here's the beautiful part. This all works so perfectly because the platform itself has evolved. The old tricks, the clickbait titles, the keyword stuffing, they're being replaced. The new signals that really matter are expertise, viewer trust, and session time. And this whole living room economy strategy, it's literally built to maximize those exact signals.
So, as we wrap this up, the one question I want you to ask yourself is this. Is your channel actually built for the living room where quality, trust, and community are king? Or is it still stuck on the small screen, playing by the old, broken rules? Because the future is definitely on the big screen, and now the blueprint is in your hands.